We're jamming, are we ever? Coming right up on Weekend at the Cottage. Welcome to Weekend at the Cottage. I'm Nick Manojlovic. Today, it's a step-by-step guide on how to make a really delicious peach ginger jam. At the end of this, I want to encourage you to head to weekendатthecottage.com, our dedicated website. You'll find the full recipe and story there. Please subscribe to our website when you're visiting. You can watch this video and tons more on our dedicated YouTube channel. Subscribe to it as well. Give us a thumbs up, drop us comments, and click that bell button for notifications. And then finally, share with us and others by following Weekend at the Cottage on your favorite social media platforms like Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Let's say making jam is your jam. Let's say you're an eager beginner, someone who wants to make jam. This peach ginger jam is the one you've just got to make. It has a beautiful, rich color, but the stuff in this jar is so remarkably flavorful. We know you're gonna love it as much as we do. If this is your first or second time doing jams, head to our website, enter home canning in our search function. There's a really great article there, give you a bit of a refresher on the process. One very important tip in that refresher course is sterilizing our jars. I'm placing them into the dishwasher. I'm gonna run them on a cycle, no soap, extra hot. I also place the lids and the rings into separate bowls. How about we get started? Let's make this very delicious peach ginger jam. Surprisingly, this peach ginger jam only has 5 ingredients. Prepping those ingredients, I suggest we leave the peaches to the end. Let's start with the lemons. We're gonna cut them in half, juice them, take away those seeds. Next, about a 3-inch knob of ginger. I've peeled the ginger and then I've roughly chopped it. Then I placed it into a small food processor to finely chop. You can place the ginger to the side. This jam would be nothing if it wasn't for peaches. Principal ingredient. It's about the fragrance and the texture. If you can purchase locally grown, all the better. I picked mine up at a local organic market. About 5 days ago, I brought them to the cottage, stuck them in the sunroom to fully ripen. I woke up this morning and it was like, yup, today is the day I'm making that peach ginger jam. First thing we're gonna do is head to the sink. Once your peaches are washed, we're gonna take a sharp knife, invert the peaches, and we're just going to score the bottom. X marks the spot. Now we're gonna get ready to blanch them so that we can peel them. Over to stovetop, I have my peaches on one tray. I have a large pot, half filled, boiling water, reduced to simmer, and then next to that, a big bowl of ice water. I'm gonna start by taking about 8 peaches, add them into the hot water. You can move them around with your slotted spoon. I'm gonna leave them in that hot water for about 45 seconds. Take them out with the slotted spoon and right to the cold water. Let them cool down. Take them out of the ice bath, return them to a large bowl. Once all of your peaches are blanched, you'll see it's really easy now to peel that skin. You can just peel them from the point. All of the skin comes away and you can see how beautiful these peaches are. You can now pretty much just pluck them open by hand, remove the stone. I'm placing the skins into one bowl and the stones into another. I want to reserve all of those skins. I have a very special little trick I'll do in a moment. Once the peaches are peeled, cracked open, stones are discarded, take a sharp knife. We're going to roughly chop that flesh, place it into a large bowl. This recipe is done by weight, and I'm going with a 200 grams of sugar to 300 grams of fruit ratio. We're gonna continue with the recipe and weigh the peaches, and my weight for peaches was 3,090 grams of peaches. I had a calculator handy, which is important. I'm then able to determine what that sugar ratio was, so I then know I need 2,060 grams of sugar. I've weighed out the peaches. I've now weighed out a quantity of sugar. Last thing I want to do before we start the recipe, remember those peach skins? Something about them was kind of bugging me. The thought that all of that gorgeous color and flavor might just go to waste. Instead, I've taken those skins, I'm adding 1 cup of water, place it on stovetop, bring it to a boil, and then let it simmer for about 5 minutes. I want to extract that flavor. You will be amazed at what it does to this recipe. Once it's cooked down, I'm going to strain that liquid. We are ready and we're jamming. We're heading to stovetop. I'm using a very wide squat pot on my large burner. I'm adding all of those peaches. I measured out that ginger, 125 grams into the pot. Add in the granulated sugar, 260 grams or 1 cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Stir all of these ingredients together. Watch this. I'm going to add that flavor booster. The color is so gorgeous. Stir everything together. The heat on the stove goes to medium, and I'm going to stir this mixture until the sugar dissolves. Once the sugar dissolves, we're going to crank up the heat, bring the jam to a boil, stirring frequently. You're going to see some foam come to the top. Take a slotted spoon, we're going to skim away that foam. You can discard it and just keep pulling it away. Optional, you can also add 20 grams of butter. That's about 2 tablespoons into your jam. Stir it in. This will also help the foam calm down. Now that our peach ginger jam is cooking away nicely, the big question is, when is it done? Although I could do a frozen plate test, I like to use a candy thermometer, a little bit more accurate. I'm placing the thermometer on the edge of the pot, and we're looking for that temperature to climb to 220 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a guarantee that your jam will set. When the temperature of the jam finally hits 220 degrees Fahrenheit, you know the jam is done. We're bringing the pot over to our work surface. Take that masher and just mash down any of the larger pieces of peaches. The jam now has to sit for 20 minutes before we transfer it into the jars. This gives us a chance to do a last couple of things. For the canning process, I'm going to add boiling water to our lids and rings. Once the jam has kind of chilled for 20 minutes, we're ready to transfer it into our sterilized jars. I have a sterilized funnel and a sterilized ladle. The funnel goes on the first jar, and then you're just slowly adding your jam to about 1/4 of an inch from the top of the jar. Carefully transfer the funnel over to the next jar, and you continue adding your jam until all of your jars are filled. I'm taking a clean, damp cloth and just wiping the top of every jar. Very important. We don't want any debris right on the rim. Then we're taking our canning magnet. Take those lids, carefully place them onto each jar. Then the rings, we're tightening them fingertip tight. Now we're ready to process the jams. Over to stovetop, I have a big pot, boiling water. Carefully add your jars of jam. I do 6 at a time, cover, and let it boil for 10 minutes. After the jams have processed for 10 minutes, we're carefully taking them out of the boiling water onto our work surface, and then ping, 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 we know our jars have sealed, and this entire adventure in jam making has been a complete success. So successful, in fact, you're gonna be left with 12 jars just like this. Perfect for you, or you could give them to friends. I also gave you a little bit of extra, right? Right at the bottom of the pot, you've got a little bit you can transfer into a bowl, so you can try the jam straight away, which is what I just did. Warmed up a little tea biscuit. I then added some butter, it melted in, and then I took some of this very colorful, extremely fragrant, very delicious peach ginger jam, and I added a little bit on this tea biscuit. I gotta try it, right? Let me tell you, you will love this peach ginger jam as soon as you make it. After that, come on back and hang out again soon. Until next time, take care. We're jamming, jamming. Oh, beauty.